Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to episode 491 of the DrunkNerds podcast. And as always, I am Tyler. Joining me, we have the man, God, it's backwards again. The man, the myth, the legend himself, Sir Colonel Gables. What's up, buddy?
I'll tell you what, Tyler. Nintendo 64.
Yes! Gotcha, bitch! I got all cocky.
Oh
I
my
see
god.
the defeatedness in your face. It's the
Oh,
face.
that was
It's the
pretty
face I
funny.
see in the mirror every day.
That was
Oh, that was
funny. As
funny.
soon as I go up and try to do that and stuff like that, the freaking thing just goes slides out my thumb.
Oh, that was awesome. For audio listeners, Gables for the third week in a row tried to open up there's a can of, is that Diet Dr Pepper I'm seeing over there?
It's not Dr. Pepper, right?
Uh-huh.
But normally when I do it, the can's on the thing. I thought it'd be fancy to try to put it up like
Lift
this
it
and
up,
try to do
put it in
that
the
shit.
camera there. Yeah, yeah. Got a little
But
cocky there, didn't you, you son of a bitch?
but like I was saying, man, the Nintendo 64, that's what's up. And the reason why I'm saying that is because a couple weeks back, when we had the last major update for Nintendo Switch Online, when it had like, what was it? What was the last N64 game? F-Zero X, I think it was. I want to say,
Sure.
yeah. So anyway, the last major N64 game that launched on the Switch eShop, no, the Switch Online component and stuff, we started thinking to ourselves like how many games like technically could release on that service still, and we're kind of a little bit of guessing. I'll tell you what, I went the past couple days. I started checking out the official, like complete North American release list for the Nintendo 64, and let me tell you something. How many games released in North America on the N64? 297.
Yeah, it's not a lot.
297, right? And so I took that list under consideration because there is a little checklist thing that you can do, right? So this website that I'm going to go for the name is called listchallenges.com. And basically, I searched up all North American releases for the Nintendo 64.
It was
It's
Mario
interesting.
Golf. Sorry to cut you off there,
Oh,
but it was
Mario
Mario
Golf.
Golf.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. That's the other one. That's the one I just played like a couple months ago. Anyway, yes, it's called like listchallenges.com, right? And so I basically was checking off all the games, like N64 games that I had played. It's about 8 pages long. I kept tabs of each one that would be considered like supposed great games. I technically counted like about 73 in regards to like N64 games, but that included licensed stuff, which I pretty much feel would not release under any type of
Yeah,
circumstance.
those aren't gonna happen.
So I took off that. Let's see, and I think I came up to around, oh my god, give or take. And this is me doing a little bit of random calculation stuff, right? So if we had 73 and we took out the amount that were just the licensed games from the 73, right? So I got about 3, 6, 7, 8. So we just take out the 8, it would be 65, correct?
Mm-hmm.
But that's not taking into account the games that are on the service right now for the Switch Online.
Yeah. It was like
Since
11,
I
12.
think like 3, 6, 9, 10. Yeah, 11. You're correct. 11 in that regards.
So goddamn good.
So it would only give us about 54 games out of the current list that I had went through and researched on. And from looking at the list, I mean, you had like you had like the most randomest type of stuff. I mean, you got like the Mario Party games, you got like Mega Man 64, you got maybe Killer Instinct Gold. I mean, here's the thing: there are
That's an
still
Xbox one. It could happen.
that's the thing. Rareware has released games on the Switch Online before. Banjo-Kazooie, the rumored
Yeah.
GoldenEye potentially. So you can't really dismiss any of the Rareware type of games making onto the Switch like online service. But then you start getting into some of the more obscure ones like Chameleon Twist or even like Goemon's Great Adventure or something like that, or even like the Atlas kind of cult classic Mischief Makers. But yeah, what I'm saying is, man, it's like there is
So we're out of
actually
games. We're out of games.
it could potentially get to that point, but what I am trying to point at it is like maybe the Switch Online is probably going to have the top 30 at most best N64 games when you all this said or done out of the whole aspect of what I was going through in research. But even with the 11 that are on there, not including the import Sin and Punishment, like yeah, sin and punishment and stuff, that's still going to be like chump change in comparison to some of the other stuff. But yeah, there are a bunch of possibilities that could still release on it. But other than my little bit of research, other than my little research thing applies and stuff, I did end up buying Kirby in the Forgotten Lands. What's kind of hilarious is like one of those mornings where I've just figured out to myself, it's like, you know what? I'm gonna fucking buy Kirby. So half asleep, I go on to Amazon, I find it, I order it, and I text Tyler here, right? I text him on Instagram. It's like, hey, good news. I got Kirby. And he's like, yeah. He's like, okay, bad news. I got the PAL version.
Yeah. Peggy 18.
Well, that's just funny. And we're just like talking back and forth. It's like, does it work? It was like, and I go through. I'm like, I don't know. I'm gonna check. And I go and I put it in my Switch, and yeah, the
Yeah.
Switch is region free, so everything worked as it should. And I'm glad that the system, even though I make a fucking bonehead mistake like around 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning when I'm still trying to wake up. But yeah, I played a little bit of Kirby. It's good, obviously. But other than that, though, busy stuff at work, so on and so forth. But yeah, there's a slew of gaming news, though. So basically, Tyler, how have you been doing?
Doing all right, you know. Yeah, like I said, it's been a crazy week. I tweeted out today in our DrunkNerds Twitter account. What a month this week has been for gaming. Not so much releases, just news. I was telling Gables like
Mm-hmm.
typically I like to keep like 3-4 topics depending on how big they are for the main show, and then like maybe 4 or 5 other news ones or like smaller things we're talking about, but not really
Mm.
a lot to talk about. Um, I had like 14 or 15 different things in here this week, and I'm like,
Jesus.
all of these things are like top 4 or 5 topics of the show, and I gotta start cutting shit. So I like it's been a crazy week, and we're a month away from the Summer Game Fest mess, E3, whatever it's called. Rest in peace to that thing. Rest in peace to E3. I'm wearing my Jeff Grubb shirt here where it says "Here lies Electronic Entertainment Expo 1985 2021" shirt. I did not plan that. This kind of how I was wearing that shirt. There's Mike Minotti right on the side, right there. So yeah, yeah, been all right. Crazy week. I was actually I had my first like day off from work that wasn't like a weekend, or and I'm not counting my 3 days I missed it from work because I had COVID. Because I'd honestly rather have been at work. Um, but my first like day away from work since Thanksgiving, so that was awesome having that. And it just so happened they announced the Indie World thing, uh, which I called by the way. I said a few
Yeah.
weeks ago on the show where I'm like, I was off a little bit. Like it's not really fair because I called like 2 or 3 weeks ago because like PAX East was happening and we always had the Indie World Indie thing whatever right around PAX East, and we didn't have it this year. And then here it is, May 11th. So I was home that morning. I was actually on my computer here, and I was like, I better start putting some show notes and getting the doc ready to go because it feels like it's gonna be a crazy week. Crazy shit's already happening. We didn't even get to all the other shit. And it was like 8:57, and it was starting at 9 o'clock my time. I'm like, I wonder if I can just do like a live react thing to it. I did it. I thought it went okay. It's a little difficult. We'll talk about a little more later the event, but those are always kind of tough to do because it's like it could be a lot of big like good games coming on there, but if like this isn't like these are indie games, these are smaller games, so it's not like even like if you watch like I've watched several directs or PlayStation events or Xbox events where it's like a lot of big things are announced like that are big news topics, but like they don't speak to me personally. Those ones, the indie directs are very personable as far as what your
Yes.
game tastes are. So this one I thought personally, we'll talk about a little more later. It was a pretty good one, so it worked out. First time doing it. Apologize for like the sound quality and the audio, the video quality. Uh, I think I got it fixed later in the show, like later on, like the first few minutes. Like I was trying to like get the sound mix right. I think I got it. Um, Next time I do it though, I'm gonna try to get it like to a better like quality. Cause I think it like was like 480, the way, cause like the settings I had on it. So I'll get that fixed for next time. But Gables and I, as of right now, Summer Game Fest is about a month away. Um, Current plan is that if we are able to, we will live react to these things as they're happening. If we're home or we're around and we're able to do it, I think pretty much for sure we're gonna do the Xbox Bethesda event. But like if there's any other ones and we're able to do it, we will do it. So that was kind of a nice little test out for me, like doing a short little 20-minute thing. And then if it works out, we'll keep doing it. If it doesn't, then we'll just keep doing the podcast. But something I think we've been wanting to add for a while, but these things are always tough because we just do this for fun, and it's difficult to do when you have day jobs, and most of the big directs and events
Yes.
usually happen during the day on the week during the week. So it's hard for us to be home to react to these without not be spoiled before we get home. So yeah, but Gables, like you said, it's been a busy week. We're already 10 minutes and 45 seconds into this podcast, so let's start going here. Starfield and Redfall both announced, I believe, on Thursday morning that they were delayed to the first half of 2023. Um,
Yes,
Phil
it is.
Spencer did a big tweet about it. Bethesda tweeted about it. Um, Obviously, starting it off, the delays always a good thing. Take your time. Don't crunch. Uh, don't want these games. Don't. It's the three things I always mention: COVID, Miyamoto's quote about delayed games, and I forgot the third one. Oh, Cyberpunk. How can I
Yeah.
forget Cyberpunk? Whenever a game gets delayed, those are always three things you talk about. And those are like every time it was a delay, I mention those three things. I don't even have to explain what I mean by those. You know what I mean. Um, so yeah. That being said, though, Gables, when you heard this news, kind of what was your thoughts? What's your reactions to it?
Disappointment, really, because for one, it had been touted out that it would potentially make it towards the end of 2022. I'm not surprised in of its sense after the fact that both that and Redfall are going to be delayed into 2023, at least the first quarter of it, because they needed to do more improvements and more ironing out of the kinks. Disappointed, really, because it's like, other than Halo Infinite late last year and stuff, there really isn't anything in regards to current year, the first party related that Microsoft has down the pipeline, unless they're trying to pull out some sort of third party deal out of their ass or something like that, come
Yeah.
like their presser and stuff like that. We're looking at just Game Pass for the rest of the rest of the year and stuff, with potentially having a shotgun type of release thing come early 2023.
Yeah. Um, I'm with you. Like I wasn't stunned about Starfield because I remember when we did our Fantasy Critic League draft, um, it made it a decent chunk in there. We did 20 rounds apiece, picked 40 games, and I think it made it
Yeah,
to the 30s because neither of us was feeling confident about it, and you drafted it. So
I
suck it,
drafted it. I
Gables.
mean, one of us had to,
No, we
but
didn't have to. We
but
didn't have to.
yeah.
What's funny though, Gables, the day before on Wednesday, I went to
Uh-huh.
go bid on some games. I added a couple games to my Fantasy Critic League, by the way.
Yes.
And I actually bid $1 on Redfall because I'm like, that's supposed to be coming in the summer. And I'm like, it's probably okay, so it's probably gonna delay till like September, October, or something like that. I was like, in my brain, I'm like, okay, maybe it got delayed to October because it's supposed to be a vampire game, maybe a little more. It's supposed to be a 4-player co-op game, but maybe vampires. October seems like a good month for that. Summer is pretty safe. It's not happening because it's fucking mid-May and we haven't heard about the game yet. Mike, work with me here, please. Thank you. Um, and I'm like, okay. And then that very next day, I got announced. I'm like, okay, I need to hurry up and can't. Like, I deleted the bid. So I didn't bid on that one. I didn't get that. So that worked out. I didn't have to waste a drop space on that one. But yeah, I'm not surprised about Starfield. Like, I kind of like, I wasn't like overly confident. Like Breath of the Wild 2 being delayed, I was not stunned about. I felt pretty confident on that one when I even way before, even beginning in the second week of January, we did the Fantasy Cricket League draft. I'm like, I'm not drafting it because I don't think it's going to happen. And
Mm.
pretty early in the year, they announced it was being delayed. Like Starfield, I was like, I would say it was like 51-49 that game was getting delayed. Like I wouldn't, I'm like, you're like on one hand, you're like, that's already into the year. You could say like this, if it gets delayed, it's not happening. But it's like also like if you're putting that date on it 17 months out, that was E3 of last year. Like you got to be pretty confident you're gonna be done well before that. Um,
Right, and I was of the mind at the time when I did initially draft the thing for the fantasy league that they would stick to that date. But obviously, things change, things pop up and stuff, and at that point, they looked at their initial series of what they had done, and they had to pull the hard question. They had to pull the trigger that this thing had to be delayed up until like early 2023. And in the grand scheme of things, if the reports from Jason Schreier thing was like accurate in that regards. Some people were afraid it's going to be like a cyberpunk kind of like release type of
Yeah.
thing, which obviously we want to avoid like the
Mm-hmm.
plague, especially if you don't want to be known as that company that follows CD Projekt Red's
Yeah.
misfiring of
After you already had
Cyberpunk.
Fallout 76.
Yep, after Fallout
Yeah.
76. So Bethesda has had something like that in the past, and they want to avoid that by all
Yeah.
costs.
Um. So yeah, I mean, like Redfall kind of surprised me because like I said, like okay, that's a summer game. It was supposed to be a summer game. All right, it's probably gonna get delayed. Probably gonna be like I said. I was thinking like it's gonna be October or something like that. I'm stunned by that one being delayed. Um, I mean, it's just kind of crazy. Like when we think about like we've been talking about since I would say mid last year, um, that
Hmm.
2022, 2023 are gonna be banger years, and we've had a banger first like 4 months of this year, and we were like,
We've had a banger
yeah,
early part of
yeah,
this
and
year.
but like I'm like, man, like that was like, but then we're like, okay, we're in that kind of a dead zone right now. Not a lot of big stuff happening, but like, man, like we were looking at just a few weeks ago, we are looking at, you look at uh, July, August. I mean, Nintendo's set. Like they got a ton of big games. They have like one or two big games coming out almost every month, starting in June, the rest of the year. Um,
They were definitely Nintendo in regards to the release
yeah,
scale, though. It's like very heavy towards the early portion of the year and stuff. There are some things in regards to the summer,
yeah,
and basically there's maybe slots for maybe one or two more games from
yeah.
them potentially towards the end
But
of the
yeah,
year.
but my point is like you look at like everything else. I mean, obviously we don't have a lot of dates right now, and well, I'm sure we're gonna get a lot of dates and solidification on shit in about a month or so. Um, but you look at the rest of this year, like I'm taking on like God of War. You look at the fall timeline. If you're not a Nintendo fan, there's not a lot for you. There's just not. I mean, or if like you're not like there's only certain if you're not like if there's only certain Nintendo games that you like, ain't a lot for you. It's like we're looking at like Gotham Knights, Forspoken, um, Call of Duty. I'm just trying to think of things that aren't Nintendo. Um, and I can't like
Oh
Saints
boy,
Row
yeah,
was like
that's the
late
thing.
August, so it's not really fall. It's like August 26th or something like that. Yeah, like you were saying, like people have been talking about like okay, like they have money put away to like pay companies like, hey, let's put your game on Game Pass day one. The Harry Potter game,
Hogwarts
Hogwarts Legacy.
Legacy.
Thank you. Um, and then Jeff Grubb brought up a really good point on Twitter where he said that like um, any game that has a partnership deal with like as far as like advertising and stuff like that has a deal like that in place with PlayStation, they can't in their contract with them they can't put games like that on Game Pass. Um, so like Call of Duty, which has a partnership deal with them, and Hogwarts Legacy have a
Hmm.
partnership deal with them, so they can't be a part of it. Gotham Knights, that's a WB game. This is their first game they're putting out since 2013, so we're talking 9 years since WB
We're
Montreal's
talking since the Arkham
no,
Knight.
not Arkham Knight. This is WB Montreal.
What?
This is the
Oh, Montreal.
Origins, Batman Arkham Origins. Um, this is their first game since then. They probably want to sell as many copies of the game as possible because they got a lot of money to make up.
Oh yeah, no shit.
9 years in between development, but maybe they throw enough money at them, and they make it worth it. Um, you look at the rest of the fall. Like I said, Forspoken's a PlayStation exclusive. Hogwarts has a partnership deal with PlayStation. Call of Duty has a partnership deal with them, and I don't know if like they would probably want to fuck around with that because right now they're in the process of purchasing Activision. So it's like that might throw some red flags in there. Like, hey, you're like you got to deal with like you're making a deal with these guys as you're trying to buy them. Like that can be kind of government stuff like that can make like that might be a little shady here. Let's look at that. So you don't want even if you could PlayStation excluded, you probably don't want to risk that because you're so close to buying them. Why fuck with that now? Like the biggest thing that's like
Mm.
coming out the last like few months of the year is like I said is Saints Row, and that's like an August 26th game. That's not gonna like I think there's gonna be an audience for that, but like I don't think anybody's super pumped about that game. Maybe being on Saints Row could be big for them. Like they got Back for Blood last year, they had big things, but it's like my big thing is people freaking out like, oh, this could be bad for Game Pass. And this is my point. I've had this point for months now that Game Pass has been around for about 4 years. I think it'll be 4 years in June since it came out. And
Wow.
I could be wrong. I think they announced it was E3 2018 when they announced it, but it came out. I think it came out that year. Uh, but
Yeah.
I always point this out where people are like, oh, like, and people like when I talk about, I was making this point about PlayStation because people were freaking out about the new PlayStation Plus thing. It's like, oh, you don't have first party games in there. Like, you can't be as good as Game Pass. Well, I'm like, yeah, it would definitely help. But the big point is for me with Xbox and Game Pass is like, how many big, you take away Forza and Halo from last year, how many big first party games have come out for Game Pass the last 4 years? You've had Gears 5, Sea of Thieves, Crackdown 3, and that's about it.
Continuously old
Yeah, like
games.
you take
Yeah.
like Psychonauts 2. Like that's the big shit you've had in the last 4 years. If you take it, like I said, take away like literally from last like take away the like November and December, those two big games. Like, and Game Pass has been thriving and doing really well the last few years, despite not having those big first party games. So I think Game Pass will be fine. Maybe it's not gonna. I don't think people are gonna leave because like people are gonna leave, but like not. It's not gonna be a noticeable chunk. It's not gonna.
It's not going to be like a long-term type of leave. It's going to be
Yeah, and
similar to what they do with Game Pass. They sign on, they play the games
yeah,
they want, they
it's just like
unsubscribe, and
any
they
other
wait for the next
subscription. Like
big
you get
thing.
it for like, oh, there's this new movie I want to watch, or there's a new TV show I want to watch. You get it for a month. You watch a show, you cancel
Yep.
it. I can see that. Maybe it's not going to expand as much as they want because they want to get that. They want to get that partnership. They want to build as many subscribers and keep them around permanently. But there's a lot of people like us. I think, or a lot of people that are just like that aren't like us. That just like they just play games that are on Game Pass. There's a lot of people like talking shit. They're not. They're gamers, but they're not like they're nowhere near like us. They don't read the gaming news. Like they don't. They don't like pay attention to that kind of shit. Like they know about the big games that come out, kinda, but they just pretty much they just play shit on Game Pass. They like to play older games.
Yep.
They'll wait around for them to come in Game Pass, whatever. There's people like that. Like for me personally, like I love Game Pass. For me, it's good enough. You put out like Game Pass is like even when a game I'm looking forward to comes out on there and I don't like it, it's like cool. You just saved me $25 for not buying that game. I only paid you 15, and I got all these other games to play. Like a game like for me this month, Trek to Yomi, I would have bought that game more than likely when it came out because I was really excited to play that game. Played it, it's aight, but hey, instead of me paying 25 for it or $20 for it, it was on Game Pass, the service I already had. And then I have all these other games to play, and there's gonna be more shit coming throughout. So I think it will be fine. I'm not freaking out about that. I will say though, I feel like like obviously delays happen. I'm not mad about the delays. I want to point that I'm not like whatever. I'm not even that excited about playing Starfield. I'm not a big Bethesda guy. I'm not. I don't even. We don't even really know what Redfall is. It's vampires. It's a 4-player shooter game. That's all we know. So like, I'm not personally upset about these, but to me, I feel like we're at the end of the rope of the goodwill for Xbox because for years now I've been saying, and a lot of people have been saying, since like 2019 we've been saying, man, Game Pass is awesome. Would just wait till the games come. And now we're gonna next year will be like our fourth year
What?
of saying this.
3,
Yeah.
4.
So we're saying this again. We thought like okay, like last year we're like, okay, we got Forza, we got Halo, like fuck yeah, okay, now this is the beginning of it. And then like the biggest first party game that they put out this year is Crossfire X.
Literally one of the
One of the
worst
worst games
games
of
of
the year.
2022.
Yes. Um that's their big first party exclusive they've had so far this year. Um so it's not even I guess not even first party. It's their big like Xbox exclusive though. Cuz Remedy made it. Uh but yeah, it like, like obviously like when people were like Halo Infinite came out, we liked it, we played it, but the people like big Halo fans, when we keep playing it, like they want to play the multiplayer. We've seen that long drought. Even the second season just started last week. People are like, all right, where's more? And, like a lot of people, those people are saying you
Oh
should
my
delay this 6 more months to fix a lot of this issue. Like
I could see that
so,
argument,
it's
but
yeah,
yeah.
like um, yeah, I just feel like man, like we've been saying this for this many years now. You have like you keep buying all these studios, and it's like man, we're all excited for you because like we love Uncle Phil Spencer. Um, he we just he's a gamer. You just feel the passion when he talks about when like you read his tweets, you feel the passion about it. When I read that tweet from him about the delays, I could feel the disappointment because he's probably disappointed and he knows we're disappointed and he probably feels bad for disappointing us. Like that, I mean, he's a businessman. Who knows? Maybe he doesn't, but like he does a really good job making me feel like I feel that disappointment from him. Um, but yeah, like I just feel like we're at that end of the rope where like we can't like we're like at that the goodwill is running out. You bought in all these studios, you bought all these companies, you have like 30 studios. Like I understand a lot of them had deals in place with other companies, uh,
Yeah.
like Obsidian had Outer Worlds going on. Bethesda had Ghostwire and Deathloop going on. They were PlayStation exclusives. That's one big thing. Like it's barely a big thing. We're like, hey, Deathloop can technically come out in September to Xbox, and it's a great game.
A game that's been out
But
for
at
over a
that point, it'll
year.
be out for at least a year, maybe a little bit more. Like that's your big right now. That's your big exclusive, like for the rest of the year. Outside of Forza, which isn't confirmed for this year, but it seems like it's like one of the worst kept secrets in gaming, where it's supposed to be this year. So
Yeah, it's gonna be like a
yeah, and
motorsports
like
game
yeah,
again.
and I
That's
don't
probably what
like.
it
I
is.
feel like the Horizon games I've taken over the as being like the top tier. It's kind of like when like Treyarch became like the A team for Call of Duty. I feel like Playground has taken that role for Forza now,
Yeah.
where the B team, like the side team that fills in for the other one to fill in the gaps, is now the more exciting version. So yeah, I just they I don't know, I'm not like worried about because like I said, I am happy as long as they keep doing what they're doing in Game Pass. Like I love playing a lot of the indie games that come out there. Like they're doing like for me, I'm satisfied. Like I'm not personally upset. Like yeah, I'm definitely gonna play these games that come out, but it's because I have Game Pass. But like it's all the other shits keep me around, for Game Pass. Uh, so the first party shit's just kind of like a bonus. But we need to move on, Gables.
Okay.
Let's move on to some Nintendo news. So we have the fiscal year report from Nintendo here. Um, I can never whenever these like fiscal things come out, it's always a bitch to like find like you hear all the news, but it's like hard to find everything all in one place. I literally just found the slides that they use, and now I'm using them. Because I can never like find them all in one I found like 90 articles to get all the news the stuff together. So anyways, the reason why, so I want to point out because I want people to think like, oh, we're doing this because we're fanboys of Nintendo, whatever. No, I bitch about Nintendo more than any other company on here. Um, even though I do love them. I like doing their quarterly and fiscal stuff because they give out the most detailed information of all the studios. They give out
Yeah.
they give you updates like to the they do to the 100,000th to 10,000th point of sales information on their games every quarter. I love it. I wish all the other studios would do it, but they don't. So that's the reason why we do it, and they're usually pretty fascinating. So some news here. So like Kirby with only 6 days, because all this is from March or from April 1st of 2021 to March 31st of this year. So
Right.
Kirby came out on March 25th. So in 6 days in the market, sold 2.65 million units. Kirby Star Allies, which was like an early Switch game, I think came out in 2018, is currently the best-selling Kirby
Yep.
game at 3.42, and that's not even a good game. Uh, so and 6 days in the market is about 800,000 copies behind it. Wouldn't be surprised if that game takes over that here eventually. Metroid Dread is at 2.96 million copies sold. It is the best-selling Metroid game ever. I believe it's up about a half a million copies sold from the end of the year when they did their Q3 report. So not selling crazy amounts more, but it's still selling well. Uh, in total, 39 games sold over a million copies in the fiscal year. 26 were first party, 13 were third party. So we got some sales data here. Um, Overall, they sold 23 million units of the Nintendo Switch. 13.56 were the base units. 5.8 were the OLED, and 3.7 were the lights. It's down about 5 million from last year, the year before. They just made projections. I think they're saying they're projecting about another 21 million, but basically it's just they're literally as they're putting them on the shelves, they're being sold. So it's just like all the other
Yep.
consoles. The PlayStation announced I think they're at 19.64 million PS5 sold, which is below the projections, but they're literally as they're being produced, they're being sold. Um, so
Yeah, especially during this week because there was one day this week where they discounted the Switch to like about 260
yeah,
in major retailers like Walmart, Amazon,
yeah,
and stuff. and it sold even
Yeah.
more.
So overall software is up. Actually, the best they sold 235 million units over this fiscal year, which is their greatest year ever for software sales, um,
Mm.
which is just nuts to me. Um, the I pointed this out the last fiscal quarter that the last fiscal quarter they've sold more Switches than the Wii U sold games in its life period.
That is something you can't make up,
Yes.
man. That's fact.
Yeah, and so like the Switch sold double the games and last year, in the last fiscal year than the Wii U sold in its lifetime. So that tells you how big of a success this has been. Some updates here. So like Pokemon
Hmm.
Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl, 14.65 million units sold. 12.64 million units sold for Pokemon Legends Arceus. Mario Kart 8 is at 9.94 million. Um, so pretty nuts numbers. That's what they sold in the fiscal year. So those are the top three. So pretty fucking crazy numbers. Um, moving on here. Like I said, oh, sorry, I'm trying to find my other notes I had here. They did have a slide that shows like games that are as of right now announced for 2022. They have like Wii Sports, which just came out. Mario Strikers and Fire Emblem Warriors coming out next month. They have the Monster Hunter Sunbreak, Xenoblade Chronicles 3, Splatoon 3, Pokemon Scarlet Violet, Bayonetta 3, all planned for this year. No Advance Wars though, so a
Not yet, at
little
least.
concerned. Yeah, not yet. But I mean, it's probably just like we're just gonna wait for the war to see how it's going, for they release anything else for that one. But
They're probably gonna wait till probably the end of the year.
I can see. I wouldn't be shocked though if they have like, the rest of the year. Like I said, they've already got one or two big games coming out every month for the rest of the year. Um,
Yeah,
they could probably just push that to next year. Because they like,
probably gonna sit on
yeah.
it.
I mean, Nintendo is known for like they have games that will be done for months, and they're just waiting to put it out when they have a gap in the schedule. So I wouldn't be shocked if like they have a gap in like February and it's like, all right, put it in there.
Case in point, Xenoblade Chronicles 3.
Yeah, or like yeah, they just bumped it up 2 months, or like Pikmin 3, or like Paper Mario. It's like these games have been done for a long time now. It was just, like we don't got anything coming out, put it out here. Like I said, we've already got some updates. So like Mario Party Superstars, which is that the new one? Okay,
Yeah,
so that came out.
yeah, that's the new one.
Okay, so that came out last year. Already at 6.88 million units sold. Um,
That doesn't
Animal
surprise me.
Crossing is at sold 6 million units in the last fiscal year. It's at 38.64 million units sold. Uh, Smash Brothers at 28.1 million units sold. Breath of the Wild sold at 4.28 at 26.55 million units sold. Imran Khan had this really good number where he had every 3D Zelda game that's come out since Ocarina of Time, so the first one, not including like re-releases and remakes, just the base game releases combined have sold 27.4 million units. So Breath of the Wild is less than a million units sold to meet that number,
Wow.
which is shocking. Um, that's crazy. That's how big that
Yes, it
this the
is,
Switch
man.
effect is nuts. Sorry there. Ring Fit Adventure is now at 14 million units sold. Skyward Sword is at 3.9 million units sold. Came out last July. Kind of interesting. The last quarter, so January through March of this year, Q4 for the fiscal year, only sold about 60,000 units. So that kind of tells you sold initially pretty well. Still 3.9 million units sold. Already outsold what they did on the Wii, and that's with someone. Michael Damiani from Easy Ally said this really great point of like Skyward Sword came out on the Wii 5 years to the date of the Wii coming out, and only sold in its lifetime a little over 3 million units. A Kirby game came out and in 6 days sold nearly 3 million units 5 years after the launch of the Switch. That's how fucking big the Switch is. That's how big the Switch effect is. Um,
And that's also a good case in point to where when Skyward Sword released in the Wii, and that point, that was towards the tail end of the whole Wii's
yeah.
popularity. And even so, even though
I'd
it
say
sold 3 million,
the
it
Wii
was
popularity ended
yeah.
in like 2008, but that's just me. But yeah, like
But it's just the fact that's
yeah,
yeah.
but no, I know what you're saying. Yeah, like that just shows you how like yeah, the Wii was a huge success, one of the biggest video game consoles of all time. But you can like people always talk about like that the kind of like there's only like a 2 or 3 year period where that thing was fucking huge. Here's the evidence for you. Like
Yep.
here's the evidence. A fucking Kirby game, which I'm not. Kirby's a big IP. I understand that. But it's the biggest. It's already the most popular Kirby game ever. In 6 days, when a fucking Zelda game came out, and it's outsold that in its lifetime. Let's see here. Metroid Dread's sitting at, like I said, 2.9. I see a lot of people freaking out about like that number, because it's just the Switch sales have just completely thrown everything off. It's like the steroid era in baseball, where like all the stats mean nothing anymore, because like the Switch is just it's the steroid era of Nintendo, where you can't look at past sales, you can't look at current sales. Like people look at Luigi's Mansion 3, 11.4 million units sold. I love that game, fantastic game. How the fuck did like Luigi's Mansion 3 sold 11 million copies? That's fucking nuts. Any other fucking game that's not like a Call of Duty or a Halo or Forza or whatever, like if you're not like they would kill for those numbers. And Luigi Mansion 3 has sold that much. And
And here's something to also think in mind and stuff. This is Nintendo, right? With their Switch, they don't have Madden, they don't have Call of
yeah,
Duty, and they're managed to sell all of those systems with the content that they have going, with the software that they put
yeah.
out.
So yeah, it's very interesting. WarioWare Get Together is at 1.2 million. It's actually the best selling WarioWare game ever, I believe. Or it's
Wow.
close to it. I can't. I think I could be wrong on that. I know it's either number one or it's close. I can't. I believe it's WarioWare Touch is number one. Um, but yeah, like Pokemon Let's Go, Pikachu and Eevee is at 14.5. Clubhouse Games is at fucking 4.2. Game Builder Garage. Remember that game, Gables?
Yep, the $30 game where you create your
That
own
no one
games.
that came out and no one ever talked about. Sold 1
Yep,
million copies.
doesn't surprise
Yeah.
me.
I mean, I'm shocked. I'm like, what the fuck? So yeah, these are just the games that sold over 1 million copies in the last fiscal year. This isn't even all their games. This is just the shit that sold that's got really long tails to them, or like newer games. So yeah, it's wild. Like I said, the steroid era of Nintendo, for them. So
A lot of the longtime users have like a high attach rate to the fucking games of their
yeah,
system. That's for
yeah.
sure.
So you put out great games, people will come. And it was kind of interesting. They were talking about like, I thought it was kind of interesting where it was like it seemed like it was a very like aware Nintendo. We're like we always talk about the weird Nintendo decisions, like what the fuck are we doing here? Um, and they kind of mentioned like there was a whole thing of like they're concerned about the next console, um, and
And
they
that's a sensible
but
statement.
like it was actually like there was a kind of a mistranslation, and then like the proper translation came out, and like it's
Right.
basically yes they are concerned, but it's like it's very aware like they realize that like it's not just like we talk about all the time. Like you go from PS3 to 4, Xbox 360 to Xbox One. It's very easy to fuck these things up. You get a little, you get a little cocky, and there's bad things happen, or you just make the Wii to Wii U, and they kind of mentioned it. Like they went
They
from
have, yes.
Wii to DS to 3DS, which 3DS turned it around. Wii U never did. Um,
No.
so they are very hyper aware. It sounds like of like you can fuck this up. And it seems like they're aware and they're like trying to play safe. And Iwata was always big on for years about like he loved the like the iPhone kind of like the Apple world where it's like you don't you just kind of keep building new integrations of it where you can kind of keep going. And I feel like we're at this point now with gaming where it's like and just with technology in general where it's like yeah like I buy a new iPhone, you buy a new Android, whatever, like you as long as you stay in that family you got that shit. You got like all my I buy a new fucking iPhone, like I'm gonna
Yep.
have all my apps, I'm gonna have all my pictures, everything's gonna be on there. I am forever pretty much tied to Apple because of that. It kind of ties you if you don't really care to be a part of it, you're tied to it because all your shit's there. um And we're seeing that with Xbox,
God,
Steam, PlayStation. It's like PS4 to PS5. All your shit's there.
yes, more gaming consoles, more gaming
Yeah.
manufacturers and stuff are getting closer to that thing, and I'm perfectly fine if say Nintendo does the same thing to where it's like, hey, let's keep on making a better version of the
Yeah.
Switch. Let's go forth and re-release that and stuff like that while retaining a bunch of your back catalog and a bunch of your games that you can play on the system itself. I'd be all into that if it's like of some of that sort,
Yeah.
just like a little casual upgrade or even like a little more substantial. I'm not talking about like the Nintendo Switch into like an OLED thing where it's like maybe the screen is the only thing. I'm talking about maybe like a Switch to a Switch Pro
Yeah.
potentially, with that type of an upgrade, the fidelity stuff and shit. I mean, Iwata hit it on a good point in that regards, where it's like basically you want to have like a better like not just like like an upgrade of something that already works, that
Yeah.
already is going to be successful and stuff. You just want a better version of that. There's nothing wrong with that at all.
Yeah.
I mean, hell, I would love that on the
I've said
Switch.
multiple times, like I would buy a Switch Pro as soon. I don't even care about the 4K part. I just want my games to just run, and like like we've been seeing for the last few years now, games
Yes.
coming out and they're like struggling. Like Kirby's struggling, and on the Switch at 30 frames per second sometimes. Too much shit happens on the screen
Oh
at once.
yeah.
Um,
Oh, absolutely. You get into that first portion of the first level in that game, and you go and you see the pan out, and you see like the thing kind of stutter a little
mm,
bit, like it's going from 30 frames to about 5 frames
yeah.
short
So
that it's supposed
yeah,
to.
like I've said multiple times, like give me like just put out a Switch Pro that just runs better, and maybe I don't care about like a graphical improvement all that much, just runs better. And they're gonna have to do one soon because we're at this point now where company like a lot of games are becoming current gen only. Like we're getting rid of that last gen. Those games aren't going to be coming
Yep.
to fucking Switch. Like while those games on PS that were coming out a few years, like in 2016, 2017, were coming to Switch, barely working. Um,
Yeah, they're not going to come out unless they get a better model
yeah,
coming out.
so if they want to keep that the third party support they're getting, I mean, I know like they don't need them right now because they're doing really well, but like they want them.
They are going to
They're
need them
yeah,
eventually.
eventually yeah, they're gonna like they need them to fill up those dry periods. Like we've seen what they do when they try to do the Nintendo machine, the Wii U. Um,
Because let me give you a little bit of a factoid, though, for the listeners listening in and those viewers that watch us after the fact. It's like Nintendo hasn't had this type of third-party support since the Super Nintendo
yeah,
era, for God's
yeah,
sake. 64, GameCube, Wii, to some extent, had some
is
third-party, but not
yeah,
things abysmal for Wii U. But the fact remains is a healthy third-party relationship excels a console.
yeah,
PS2 is a good example. PS1, 360. The numbers are on the wall. You can have strong first-party content all you want, and Nintendo did for years, but you need third-party games. You need excellent third-party games in a plethora like they have on
yeah,
Switch. And
and then,
yeah,
yeah, like we're people buy games on Switch that they may already own on other consoles, or they buy like a lesser version on Switch because like, well, I want it on Switch. I can play it on the go. I'll buy Witcher 3 on there. I'll buy Doom on there, or whatever.
that's exactly the point.
Um,
That portability
Yeah, and then
factor.
like now Steam Deck's coming out, and if Steam Deck becomes like affordable and more reliable to get, I mean, I don't think it's not going to be.
I've actually thought
I don't
about
think
it
it's
too.
ever gonna.
I'm
I
saying
don't
that.
think it's ever gonna be like. It's never gonna be like the the. It's never. I don't think it's ever compete with Xbox or PlayStation, or Nintendo on that level. Like I know like PlayStation, like PC's its own world. On the Steam Deck side of the things, though, I don't think it's ever gonna compete with that. But I think it could. Like if it comes affordable enough and good enough and
Dude,
reliable enough, it can
you have fucking
do a
portable
chunk.
PC games? I mean, fuck,
Yeah,
dude.
like
That'd be awesome.
those third party games will go bye bye and we'll go there. Sorry, I thought my dog was right behind me.
Well,
Sorry.
exactly the point, man. I mean, hell, with Valve and like the Steam Deck, I'd love it if that thing was a major success and that thing
Yeah,
stayed around for a long while because fucking that's so appealing to me where I don't need to have a big old fucking PC, like a big old massive PC in order to run the games I want to play on
yeah.
PC.
So I think really if they just keep putting out better iterations of the Switch every 3 or 4 years and they put them out for a good price, 350, people will come as long as you keep putting out good.
Yep.
Long the games are there, they will come. But we need to move on, Gables. We got a lot to talk about here. So moving on to the next topic. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. The sequel is officially called, well, not officially, but Jeff Grubb leaked it on the Grub Snacks. Well, a person guessed the title, and he's like, yeah, that's the title. So he told him. So it's called Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Terrible name. Um, and apparently it's coming. They originally wanted to release it this year. He said a few months ago that's probably not going to happen. EA had when their quarter their fiscal year thing they talked about, and they said that there's 4 big games coming out in Q1 or Q4 of 2022. Yes, which will really be
Really?
Q1.
Four.
Well, fiscal year. So Q1
Fiscal year.
actual
Okay.
of 2023. There's 4 big games coming. One was a remake. One's a partner one. One's a sports game, and I can't remember the fourth one. But the games were Dead Space was the remake, obviously, which they
Yeah.
that tie that in. Has a release date now, January 27th. There'll be a game. The big reveal will be in October for the gameplay. Um, uh, the other one, the sports game is Super Mega Baseball. They bought that studio a couple years ago. A lot of people were thinking it was college football, which got me incredibly excited, but that's not the case because that's supposed to be happening in 2023. I can't remember what the fourth game was. And then the other game is Star Wars Jedi Survivor. That will probably be coming in February or March. Obviously, if you have Dead Space coming in January, that's probably going to be like March. Um, we're supposed to see I think the end of May they're having the Disney the thing, and it's a Disney or a Star Wars thing. I can't remember, but there is a big Disney event happening or whatever at the end of May.
Well, like D12 or
No,
some
not
shit.
D12. D12 is every other year. I think that's
Oh.
next year. But we have had gameplay stuff at that. I think Battlefront 2 was that one of those years. But there's like it's just
Oh,
there's
that's
a bunch of
right.
different things right now. It's kind of like a Comic-Con thing, but for Disney stuff. But it sounds like it's gonna be more like Disney Plus kind of things.
Yeah, that sounds
But
familiar.
yeah, so that's supposed to be. I think it's May 27th is when that's happening. Um,
Okay.
but yeah, so it's always been kind of Jeff Grubb mentioned that it's supposed to be there at that event for months now. Seems like it's happening. Um,
Oh, poor
so yeah,
soul.
um, so yeah, I mean that's happening. And then also Dead Space is coming January 27th. I don't know. I mean, I chose violence on Twitter the other day when they put the title out. I said, well, hopefully it's a change of pace and make this game good. Because I feel like it's just me and Yoshi Fett, our friend Josh, who just are the only people in the world that just didn't like that game that much.
Which game?
Jedi Fallen Order.
Oh,
I
really?
started playing it
Okay.
on it's on Game Pass. I started playing Game Pass today. I played the first like hour and a half of it. I'm like, was I just in a bad mindset when I played this game? Maybe it's not that bad. And then I got like an hour into it and I got to the map and like there's like multiple tutorials of how the map works. And I'm like, oh yeah, no, this game sucks. It does suck. Let me take it back. It's like a 7.5. It made my top 10 list that year. I think it was like 9. So it wasn't that bad. It was just, it's fine. If it was just called Fallen Order, not Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, no one gives a shit about this game. No one care. No one would care at all. It'd be Babylon's Fall. Okay. Babylon's Fallen Order. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I'm like it's kind of like a Watch Dogs thing with me, where like the game, I there's definitely parts of the game I liked. Um, uh, so like if a sequel comes out and it's better, they improve upon all the things. Like you could see the things that were good there, and they just build upon that and they make those things better, and they take away the bad things. It could be awesome. Could be an incredible game. Dead Space. I love Dead Space. I even kind of like Dead Space 3, even though it's not. It's a terrible Dead Space game. It's a good game. It's an okay game. Um, so I'm all on board. Like I've been wanting a Dead Space game since Dead Space 2. So first one in like 11 years, 12 years. I think 2000,
Yeah, I think it was like 2012 or something like
2011.
that.
Well, 2013 was Dead Space 3, so it's probably like 10 or 11. That game. So it's probably been like 11, 12 years since that game came out. So yeah, I'm all in. I don't care. It's a remake. I don't give a shit. I'm all in. I'll buy it. Just give it to me. I'll put it in me wherever you want. I don't care. I'll take it. Gables, what's your thoughts on these two games?
All right, so in regards to the whole like the sequels of Fallen Order and stuff, I'm kind of indifferent about it, only because I've only played a little bit of the first, heard the great accolades and stuff that others had during the year released. Obviously, your number 9 on your list in the 1 year and stuff was it comes to mind, but the other one, in regards to the whole remake thing with the Dead Space remastered, I mean, hey, You know what? I'm open to that. I would love to see how much improvements they would make upon the original in regards to this whole remaster. Seeing if they improve anything upon the gameplay of it or the atmosphere of it. Of course, the visuals are going to go forth and improve, obviously, because that's the number one thing that they're going to go forth and tackle first. But yeah, there's really not too much. I mean, that Baron said, is like that's really don't hit too much home with me because I don't have too much nostalgia or any type of like major things for Star Wars or even for like Dead Space in general.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just looking up. Trying to find my 2019 list here.
Oh yeah, that was
Yeah,
2019.
where Yep, it was number 9 for me.
Okay.
So the fuck is that game? Oh, MK11, Mortal Kombat 11. I was like Mario Kart 11. What? Yeah. So it was number 9 for me. I was right. Okay. Sorry, but yeah. Like I said, I'm excited for those things. Moving on here. Let's get some other smaller news that are like not that small, but kind of small. Gotham Knights had a big like 13-minute long gameplay session. Show off some gameplay for that. I'm less excited about it than before. A lot of loot. It's not a live service game, but it has a lot of live service stuff to it. A lot of loot.
Oh
A lot of
yeah.
just kind of looks like Assassin's Creed, but in the Gotham world. And they also announced that they're going to the last gen versions. Kind of shocking. I know we're going into the year. We're ending year 2 of the new consoles. You look at 2015 was like the holiday 2015 was like the last year of the PS4 or the PS3 and the Xbox
The PS3 next the
360.
360. Yep.
That was like the last holidays with them. So it's kind of the same time frame, but it's kind of shocking because yeah, it seems like the Xbox Series consoles are more easier to get. PS5 definitely not. We talked about that. But kind of shocking. But like I mean, it's 2 years is plenty long to support those little consoles, but same time, shocked just because it's so hard to get the new ones. Other things here, EA officially announced that they are dropping the FIFA license. Next year, it'll be called EA Sports FC, starting in 2023. This has been long known that they've been having issues. Like apparently, I
Yep.
guess they were giving them $125 million a year just to put FIFA in the title. Now, FIFA wants $250 million a year. They basically go fuck yourself. It's really bad when everybody's on EA's side about something and everybody's like, fuck you.
In this
Yeah, it's
regards,
pretty bad.
yes.
FIFA, though, the people in there are criminals, literally criminals that are running the organization. It's completely
Yep.
corrupt. Um, and so fuck them. It's funny. They had a big whole thing come out. FIFA did. It's like, we're going to make our own game. And it's going to be much better. Fuck you guys. It's very much like I would expect that from like a South Park episode. Um,
Oh, fuck you,
oh
buddy.
yeah, or like Bender, we're like, well, all right, we're gonna have blackjack and hookers, kind of thing. Or like we're gonna make our own soccer game. And it's gonna be with blackjack and hookers.
We're gonna make the star of Manchester United and
Yeah,
stuff like that, and we're gonna have him the biggest pimp in the
yeah.
world.
But yeah, it's funny because like I mean like so like with like Madden. So like I know Madden better. I know FIFA obviously, or FC, whatever it's gonna be called. But like Madden, like they make a deal with the NFL to have put the NFL license on there and have all the other shit. But they also have to make deals with like the player union to put the players in there. They make deals with all the advertisers to even put like the name like Lambeau Field or like FedEx Field for like Washington. So, like,
Yes.
so they have to make deals with all those teams individually and the players union and all that stuff. So they basically do the same thing with FIFA or FC at this point now. So like all the other teams have to make individual deals with all the players they make deals with. So this is like the only thing they're losing is literally just the name FIFA on there. They're gonna have all the teams, all the players. Nothing else will change. Other than it's gonna save them $250 million a year. Good on you, EA. EA. Never thought I would say that. So next up was the Nintendo Indie World event. I talked about that. I kind of like I did like my little live reaction thing too. That was pretty fun. Some of the things coming out of this is my computer overload. Here we go. So we had Ooblets, which is a game that's been in early access since 2018. Is now officially launching this summer. Like 1.0. Batora Lost Haven is a story-driven action RPG that's coming this fall. Leckhead, which is a puzzle platform, that looks kind of like a Mega Man art style. Um, I guess that came out on Steam like October, I believe, but that's coming to Switch this summer. That's actually made by one guy, which is kind of cool.
Huh.
Soundfall, which is a rhythm based dungeon crawler. Came out over. They have over 140 songs. It's kind of like a anime Crypt of the Necro Dancer kind of game, but it's like imagine like a twin stick shooter, but with like to the beat of music. I actually bought that and I played that. I'm not gonna talk about it too much. I'm just gonna talk about it here real fast. The game's very good. I have zero rhythm, so I suck at this game, but it's a very fun game, and the music fucking slaps. It's on sale right now too. I think it's like $25 if you buy it. That was actually a out today shadow drop. Wild Frost is a deck builder game. I don't have anything else on that one. It's coming out this holiday. Total Accurate Battle Simulator Tabs is coming to the Switch this summer. It's been out for like 6 years now. I think it's on Game. I'm pretty sure it's on Game Pass, or at least it was. So it's been on everything for multiple years now. So if you want to play it, start to play. Gunbrella, which I think kind of stole the hearts of everybody, is that noir punk side scrolling action game where you have an umbrella that you use to like glide and move around the world, but it also is a fucking shotgun, Gables.
Yeah. A shotgun umbrella.
I just like how they took like the 1989 Penguin from the Batman.
Batman Forever.
With
Not Batman Forever. Batman Returns.
Yeah. Is it Batman? I think it's just.
Oh, how the fuck can I confuse those two?
Whatever. Yeah, Dad, don't do that. Don't you fucking dare do that. If Justin heard you say that, he would find you and kill you.
Batman Returns is such a good movie.
But anyways, the Penguin in that movie, he had the umbrella that he like shoots some. It actually had a gun in it. It's immediately what I thought of. We Are OFK, which was announced last year. That's coming to that's that musical adventure game that's coming to Switch episodically. This summer there's supposed to be like a new episode every week. I still don't really fully understand what I'm doing in that game. Silt, which looked like an underwater like limbo game, that's coming next month. Mini Motorways is a city road builder. That game's coming out. Actually, I'm sorry, it came out. It was another shadow drop that came out on Wednesday. Wayward Strand is a narrative game from Ghost Pattern. It's about a teen journalist who seeks out stories in the hospital. There's like come out July 21st. I'm very confused with this game. It seems like it's a story-driven game, but like, apparently the hospital is just in the sky.
Yeah, apparently so. It's like a floating hospital in the clouds or some shit.
Like, is that what she's trying to? Is that what she's like doing? Trying to figure out what the fuck's going on? Because like that's my first question. Like, why is this hospital in the air?
Yeah, that's like a correlating theme with a lot of these indie games that were announced at this event and stuff, to where a lot of these were like just out there in terms of some of their concepts and some of the things.
Yeah.
Not a bad thing, mind you, but yeah, just trying to wrap your head out of some of these concepts and stuff, especially the one with the whole like hospital in the clouds sort of aspect.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what she's trying to do in this game, what she's like being a journalist about. But that'd be my first question. Why the fuck are we in the sky? Unless it's like a good way to like live in America, but also get really good like healthcare. Like that'd be great. I'm all for going up in the sky if that means I can go to the doctor and it doesn't cost me a week's pay. Cult of the Lamb, which is that like project what's the word I'm looking for here? It's like every time you go into the dungeon, it's completely different. Anyways, it's like a dungeon crawler. Everything is randomized. It's been at PAX multiple years now. It's coming out Switch later this year. It's another dungeon crawler game. That's what it looks like to me. But a lot of people are excited about. The other game that I feel like was the most talked about game at the indie event was Another Crab's Treasure. This game looks fantastic. It is a Shells-like, which it's a Souls-like game, but you play as a crab who his shell was repossessed, and you have to use. If you get hit, you die. But if you could find things around the world in the ocean you're in, like you can find cans, or I think they found like a ramen little case, or like a Lego piece to put over your body to protect yourself, and it does degrade over time. Take hits. Like you have parry, you have dodge, stuff like that, attack. Like at one point he like a boss battle, he had chopsticks and he actually pulled them out of the sleeves, which is pretty fucking awesome.
He just pulls it out like a freaking like katana.
Oh my god, it was fucking incredible. It's coming 2023. So I thought it was actually a really good indie direct. Like I said, like these are always so personable. Just based off of what you like. I thought, like much like a lot of people, Gunbrella and Another Crab's Treasure looks fantastic. I bought Soundfall. I like it a lot. I don't think it's like a must buy or anything like that. But I think it was a very good game. Um, but yeah, I thought this was actually a pretty good one. No Silk Song, but I feel like at this point, Silk Song, to expect this at a indie world thing at this point is kind of ridiculous.
I didn't expect Silsong to be in this event. If there's gonna be any more news about it, it's gonna be inside of another Nintendo Direct,
Yeah.
and that's going to be potentially next
My
month.
one criticism, though, sorry to cut you off, is that I feel like if you're Team Cherry that makes the Hollow Knight games and Silk Song, that
Hmm.
when these things happen, unless I guess Nintendo maybe tells you not to, I feel like if I mean maybe Nintendo very well could have behind the scenes like, hey, people might think you're going to be there and more people will watch because of that. So don't say you won't be there. But I feel like that last year E3 they announced they wouldn't be there well in advance.
Yeah.
Uh, so I feel like if you're not going to be there, maybe say something. Like I always talk about PlayStation State of Play is they're always really good about telling you what's not going to be there to kind of keep your expectations in check. I feel like maybe you should try to do the same thing. What about you, Gables?
All right. So when it came to this indie direct that we had going, I thought it was okay at best and stuff. There were definitely the highlights that I felt were pretty cool, which were obviously like the crab game, that freaking crab
Another
game and
Crab's
stuff like
Treasure.
that. That looked the crab's treasure and stuff
Love the
like that. The
love the
whole
two
hermit
guys too. They're
crab.
back for. I love how they made a Super Smash Bros. Brawl joke in there when they said that
And then they,
when you move, there's a 1% chance you might trip.
oh my
Fucking
gosh.
incredible.
I thought it was kind of campy, kind of
Oh
cheesy,
my
and then
god, I
just the
loved it.
jokes. They even made a reference to the fucking 2006 Sony presser and stuff like that. Yeah, a giant enemy crab and hit it for massive damage. I'm like, okay,
I love those
okay, I
guys.
get what you're going.
I'm
But
buying this. I'm gonna go buy Grounding because of them.
the thing about the game that impressed me more is how smooth the gameplay looked in regards to the transition. It looked fantastic in terms of the visual fidelity, but at the same point, it looks like it definitely looks like that whole Souls-like type of aspect and stuff to where you you just collect certain items to put on your thing as a shell, like obviously like a metal can or whatever the hell, and just face off against other type of like tougher crustaceans and other shit. But I thought Soundfall looked all right in that regards. I thought this was like one of those games and stuff which I could potentially get into because it's definitely had that good old RPG mechanic.
Four
It
player
looks
online
like you
co-op,
just
Gables.
match. Yeah, that's true too. Matching the whole attack stuff with the rhythm and
I bought
stuff.
on
I
PS5.
thought,
By the way,
yeah, I kind of figured you'd get on
it's the
PS5
same
just in
price and
case.
has trophies. Fuck it.
Even though Electhead did release on Steam, and I checked it out in regards to its actual release date on Steam, which was back last
It's
year.
like
In
October,
that
I think.
regards,
Yeah.
yeah, I think around that time period and stuff, it looks fine. I'm probably gonna pick it up sooner or later. But Gunbrella, definitely Gunbrella. I
Mm-hmm.
liked that one was a surefire kind of like winner for me inside this entire indie stuff because you've said it before. Devolver Digital knows how to create like these specific type of games and stuff, or showcase specific type of games where they look visually impressive, or like they look like, oh hey, that looks kind of cool. Let's see how this goes into that. Obviously, Death's Door being the best example in regards
Yeah.
to that, where you see like a little bit minimum, and all of a sudden it comes into like something incredibly
Yeah.
awesome.
The,
But
yeah.
I definitely felt like with Gunbrella that this has that same potential of being awesome in regards to what it initially curtails. But anyway, Tyler, what's
Sorry
up?
to cut you off. Yeah, like whenever you see Devolver Digital or Annapurna on an indie game before it comes out, you at least
Mm-hmm.
know this game is gonna be quality. It's gonna be good. Maybe like I always thought, like I talked about just last week about Trek to Yomi. Like that was the first time I was like disappointed in like a game where it wasn't bad. I just didn't think it was particularly good. Where it's like I played so many Devolver Digital games that like I personally didn't click with, but I'm like I registered these are good games. Same thing with Annapurna. I played so many of their games. I'm like I registered as good games. Just click with me. I played a lot of their games where I'm like this game's fucking incredible. So when I see their names on something, it's like Card Sharks coming out in June 2nd. Like I down because it's Devolver Digital. I downloaded that demo. I'm gonna check it out. I downloaded it just before we started the show. I meant to do it before because I want to play it. So I was talking about the show. Totally forgot about it. But I'm gonna do it. I'll talk about it next week. But yeah, like sorry to cut you off. But I just went when you see those two names on an indie game, like you just know it's quality. It's the new modern day Nintendo seal of approval.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
But anyway, in regards to the rest of the whole nitty direct and stuff, a lot of it either didn't hit with me, or in the case of OK, that band type of thing,
We are
it's
OFK.
We Are OFK
Music slaps. I
stuff.
just don't know what the game is.
I mean, the music's all right and stuff like that, but the damn premise of the game and everything else. First off, I don't know what the hell it is. Either it's like a story
I
based
think
game in regards to like a
it seems
musician
like
type
it's
of
very
thing, which
narrative based. Yes.
but the whole aspect of the game just puts me to sleep. I mean, for God's sakes, I feel like I'm going to fucking fall asleep when I'm watching this stuff because it looks so bland in regards to its like whole
I
stuff.
love the art style.
Music sounds all right, and that wouldn't be too
Slaps.
bad to listen to, let's say, like
There is a
Spotify, sort of
Spotify
like
list for those
playlist.
games now.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's probably the best aspect of that thing, where you could just listen to the music and stuff. But in actuality, for the game that it presents, sure, there's a core demographic that would love to play this type of
Oh
game
yeah.
and stuff. That whole experience that stuff. To me, it just feels like it's just bland. It just puts me to sleep.
Yeah, it's just one. Yeah, like you said, like it's these are just it's an event where like some like there's a lot of these where I watch the whole thing and I'm just like spent 20 minutes and nothing clicked with me on these, but then yeah, like this one was very good where it's like multiple games clicked with me. I bought Soundfall, Card Shark. I'm very interested in playing. Um, I think what the biggest disappointment thing was like the two biggest games that came out of it, Another Crab's Treasure and Gunbrella, are 2023 games, so they're probably more like 2024
Yeah.
games. Never trust the indie games release date. Like I don't trust
No,
it unless it's
just
a shadow drop.
yeah, exactly the point, because like you were just saying before, smaller teams. Dates in regards to release dates can always be pushed away. I mean, let's look at the core example here. Like it's a game that I actually went through and did like a bid, and I actually have it up on my thing, like Little Devils, the
Inside,
Little Devils,
inside,
inside
yeah,
and stuff
it's like
like that.
4 years
That
ago.
game, it was like 4 years ago that game was in development and stuff, and now it feels like it's going to release this year in regards to
Yeah.
2022.
Ooblets is coming out in the summer, and it's been in early access for 4 years. So
Yeah,
yeah, who know? Like yeah, like not talking shit about indie games. Like I love indie games, but yeah, it's like I just never like whenever you hear it, especially when it's very vague. When it's just a year, it's like no, it's not. Uh, I
but
just
honestly,
bid on two indie games that were in E3 last year for Xbox, replaced in Somerville,
yeah.
and those were given 2022 release dates. And I'm like, I bid $1 on them. Like, well, if they get delayed, like we're gonna hear about them soon. Um, we'll probably hear about them about the Xbox event this in a month. So, and if
Well, granted,
they
it
get
was
delayed,
incredibly
I
smart
lost
by you
$1.
on that.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly, because it's a minimal risk, a minimal minimal type of thing, to where if they do get delayed and stuff, okay, you're out
yeah,
$1. But at the same point, if they turn to be great games, it's more or
yeah,
less on your
yeah.
favor. But I did check into both of those games. Started to be kind of a little diversion and stuff. Yeah, I could see the possibility of those
Those
things
games
being
look.
pretty good.
Those were two of my three game of the shows last year. The other one was Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yep, yep.
So yeah, like I'm
But
one of those games. But yeah, it's a diversion there. But yeah, go ahead.
but the tie up with the whole Nindy stuff, I thought it was okay. It wasn't terrible, but it also wasn't like great and stuff. It did kind of its intended purpose, was to showcase new games,
Yeah,
some of which we've never even heard of. But even so, I'd still would give it like a solid like 5.5 out of 10.
yeah.
Really?
I'm like a 7. I mean, like it's so hard. Like I said, these are so hard to judge because like you can't judge these like when there's a big direct Nintendo Direct or Xbox event, whatever.
Yeah.
Um, you usually even if you like you can judge those ones more about what was announced at them, even if they don't click. Like there'll be 30 games that are shown, and it'd be a 4 or 5 big, huge ones that are like newsworthy topics. Even a
Right.
bad direct has things to talk about. But like even if like nothing,
It did.
these just like yeah, these are like I said, they're so personable for people that like to me like this is one of the better ones.
I think the biggest missed opportunity was like the lack of that one more thing.
Yeah,
At
that
the
was
end.
I wanted my like I was stunned when like what you could see my reaction when I was watching this, where like
Yeah.
I'm like okay like I thought it was like a tease like here's a montage. I was like you did a montage to like Another Crab's Treasure would have been like
They end their game with a fucking montage.
like
And some of those games that they did a montage for are actual good games that
Card
could have been
Shark is in
presented
there.
inside
Yeah.
that direct.
Yeah, but like
One shot thing is actually pretty good.
yeah,
too.
One Shot people are really excited about that one, but like yeah, like if Another Crab's Treasure would have been the one more thing or Gunbrella would have been one more thing, I think it would have been a much really the Another Crab's Treasure was the one more thing. They just didn't do here's one more thing. Like that should have been the finale because that was a really good way
Right.
to end it, I thought. Great jokes. Gables has bad taste and doesn't understand humor. Um, those people are fantastic. I love them. Take my money, please. Um, yeah. So yeah, that was. But yeah, that was. For me, that shows you how the Nindy directs go. Where like for me, I thought for me personally, I thought it was one of the better ones. I'd probably put it like there's so many of these things they've had where like I watched it, I couldn't even tell you what was there. And this one was really good for Gables. Yeah, there was just nothing. A couple things clicked for him, but most of it was
Yeah,
forgettable.
like I said, it was
Yeah,
okay.
I thought it was very good. So yeah, that just shows you how these things go. But moving on, last thing here before we get out of here, Gables. Well, before we move on to what we're playing, Silent Hill. Apparently, some leaked images came out. So a little guy called I don't actually know if he's little. I don't know if he could be a woman. I don't know. Dusk Golem. He or she. I don't know. They are known for leaking. They're very big on leaking Resident Evil stuff. They leaked. They had
Okay.
the Capcom leak a few years ago. They leaked everything about Resident Evil 8. They leaked all the shit about Monster Hunter. Like they leaked about the Resident Evil 4. Like they are big on leaking Capcom shit. They
Right.
leaked out, I believe, on Reddit. I can't remember exactly where it was. They did some leaks. They said this is a fairly new contact that they have, but um, they've talked to other people, and it seems like this is a pretty good contact. Leaked some images to what apparently is a new Silent Hill game. Um, we've heard the rumors that apparently there are two Silent Hill games in development. We do know
Hmm.
Bloober Team is working with Konami. Bloober Team does Horror the Layers of Fear and the Medium, which I thought the Medium was a very good game that came out last year. Um, and like I said, yeah, so they're pretty. Dusk Golem is very good, and pretty much he nailed everything on Resident Evil 8. Like the werewolves, the witch, everything. Like we knew
Right.
everything before that game was announced. But outside like major story events, obviously, but we knew all the big stuff out of that game before it was announced. Um, so leaked some images. Seems so. Apparently, the rumors are now coming out of this is that the Bloober team, the one they're working on, they're working on a remake of Silent Hill 2, which is weird because they're just going straight. I guess 2 was the one that everybody likes the most, but it's weird you just skip 1 and go to 2. Um, but there's that second one that there's been rumored. Now, I haven't been able to figure out, like, I don't know too much about Silent Hill. Like, Silent Hills, the PT thing is like the most I know about Silent Hill games. I played Silent Hill, the original one on PS1 back in the day, but I was like 7 when I played it. I was just too young and dumb to figure that game out. I just remember a lot of fog. Um, but in this one, in the leaked images, it's very obvious that okay, it's in the UK. Based just some of the stuff. There's like a picture of a woman looking in a mirror. And it says like "You hate me" or "I hate you" or whatever. Uh, but yeah, like looks very good as far as the leaked images go graphically. But yeah, so no one can really figure out. It seems like if this is the Bloober Team rumored remake of Silent Hill 2, or if this is the other one that is them. But it has been DMCA'd and taken down by Sony.
Interesting. Honestly, when I heard about this thing last night, along the collaboration of everything else that went into it beforehand and stuff, this holds credence that this is like a legitimate thing, because a lot of it is suggesting that not only are these Silent Hill games real, but yet Sony DMCAing a couple of images where they didn't technically have to do that. I mean, especially if they want to go forth and nail past the narrative or some that if that they're not a thing, but that holds more credence that they are a thing now. And
Mm-hmm.
so now we're left wondering if this is Bloober Team, if this is like Kojima has something to do with it in
Oh,
regards to that, which
he's
that's
got to
probably a
deal with
strong chance
Xbox,
not.
so
Right.
um,
Right. But
yeah.
fact remains is we're going to be learning more about it next month probably. That's what we're hoping anyway, if not September, if rumors are persistent enough. But it makes me excited because, for one, it's like we haven't had a decent new Silent Hill game for years, especially since Silent Hill 4, that thing fell off a cliff. The Room, I think it was.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is highly exciting. You have concrete type of like screenshots that were released and stuff. I'm hoping everything that was showcased and that's being referenced is real because Silent Hill fans are going to have a lot to think about and especially a lot to digest as soon as like say another game is eventually going to be released, which right now it's rumor. we see a whole lot of concrete things that it's leading for it to happen, but we're still maintaining a lot of it could be coming to fruition. But at the same point, I just want to nail home and stuff that even though it may seem like it may seem walk like a duck or talk like a duck, doesn't mean necessarily it can't be a duck in
Yeah.
this case.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, it just kind of leads credence to the rumors we've been hearing for multiple years now. So, um,
Yeah.
I've never been a big Silent Hill person, but I'm all in for for Bloober Team. The medium sold me on them, being a very good studio, and if depending on who's making it for Sony, if this is true, like definitely just because Sony DMCA'd it doesn't necessarily mean it's gonna be the case. We've seen there's been cases in the past where it's been companies DMCA'd something and then nothing came out of it. But we also seen like there was that what's that the Smash Brothers like game they're doing that has like Scooby and
Oh my
Batman. I
god.
can't remember the name of the game, but anyways, uh, that game
I forgot the name of it
that
too.
game leaked everywhere on YouTube and shit like that,
Yep.
and they WB DMCA took it down, and then like a month or two later they announced it. So
Yep.
doesn't seal the deal, but I feel like it's making it more so that's happening, and maybe we hear about that. Maybe
Right.
we hear about that news soon. 'Cause apparently we might just have a PlayStation event in early June. So, but Gables, we got to move on here. We're an hour 16 minutes in. I mentioned already. I played Soundfall. I'm really liking it so
Okay.
far. I just have no rhythm because I'm white. Uh, so yeah. I'm not doing great in this game, but I'm enjoying it quite a bit. The music slaps. But Gables, what have you been playing, buddy?
All right, a couple different things. Obviously, I played a bit of Kirby yesterday. I pretty much went through the first main level in regards to no, like two levels actually. The introductory thing in the first level and stuff. Collected all the little random little figurine, the little like capsule things
Mm.
and stuff. Let's got all the Waddle Dees and stuff like that. The
Waddle
game
Dee's
runs.
nuts.
Yeah,
Sorry.
dude, it's kind of similar to that. It's actually honestly, it's kind of similar in regards to how the demo kind of played out so far because the demo showcased the first couple things of the levels inside the beginning, like island and stuff of the game. But gameplay still remains smooth. Everything else seems kind of fun. I love how after you get past the introductory thing and you're going to the first town, it busts into this song that
Um,
is all in Japanese and stuff like
so
that.
fucking
That
awesome.
you have the
I'm
yeah.
so glad
I
they
wasn't
didn't spoil that in the
expecting that, and
demo.
that was so fucking cool.
Yeah, just riding on the Last of Us highway.
Oh my god. Yeah, I love how the first main like focus upon this game, the first major hub area, it looks like a post dystopian Seattle. Oh my gosh, in some alternative reality that was The Last of Us Part 2.
I like the other night I was there just thinking about like just watching a PlayStation event. Screen goes black. Naughty Dog logo pops up. Fucking just goosebumps, Gables, goosebumps,
Yeah.
goosebumps. Just thinking about what they're doing next, Gables. What are they fucking doing next? God, I'm sorry. I don't know why. Like I'm getting in like
Oh.
that E3 where it's where, like I got a vacation coming up in a few weeks. We got that summer game fest shit coming up. It's gonna be
There you
it's gonna be
go.
magical this summer, and I'm just fucking. Oh, I've got chills through my body right now thinking about. Oh, it's gonna be a good time. Anyways, I'm sorry.
Oh, absolutely. But yeah, Kirby plays pretty fine in that regards. I did play a little bit more of Trek to Yomi last week after recording and stuff. I was through chapter 4 to kind of give it a little bit of break because for one, I went through like the chapter 2, 3, and then 4 and stuff like that subsequently, and like about 9.5 or something like that. I was taking my time with the game and stuff. I'm still having some issues in regards to the whole like combat stuff because it's not as smooth as it could be. That's the thing about this game to where presentation's nice. Everything else seems like it's okay, but the combat is not there
Mm.
in regards to the fluidity, in terms of the fidelity, in regards to what it could have been. Like I'm still getting like little delays and stuff. I'm trying to counter specific like sword slashes,
Yeah,
or it feels like my timing is thrown off
yeah.
completely in some
It's
aspects.
exactly what I said last week. That parry system. I never could figure out the parry system. I just
Yeah,
I
and
just learned to dodge roll. I
yeah,
got really
that's
good at
pretty
that.
much what I have been doing, or I have been like going through and getting like turning my back to my opponent and stuff, and all of a sudden just
Dude, the
going through and just
backslash.
like the
Yep,
big
turn
old
around. Yep,
backslash and
that's
stuff behind.
exactly what I did. Yep, it's the
And
best
when I have
counter.
to do that in response to one of the main features that you have in this game to counter an attack is not working properly, yeah, that is definitely not the best that it could have been in regards to that gameplay aspect of it, in my honest opinion and stuff. And so I kind of put that game a little bit of the back burner because I went into something else. And the reason why I mentioned N64 in the beginning part of this podcast is because there was a game I never played back then when the 64 was out that was an outsider looking in, and that game is F-Zero X.
Yeah.
Now, granted, racing games on the Super Nintendo, on the 64, yeah, there are a lot of great racing games on the 64. But I
Cruising
went
USA,
fully
best game
in.
ever.
Yeah, well, yeah, man. Cruising USA is a great game. I have played that a long time ago. I think I rented that game. But F-Zero X, I'd never played it. And when I went through the opportunity one night, I was in bed, I was watching something on Twitch, and all of a sudden I'm like, what, I'm gonna power up the app and see what I can do. Oh, well, let's try F-Zero X. I went through the entirety of the I went through the entirety of like the easy mode portion of the thing with Blue Falcon and stuff like that, with Captain Falcon and stuff. Go through the Jack Cup, Queen, and then the King Cup. Now I'm on standard, and let me tell you something. How aggressive you have to be able to try to play this game in regards to try to navigate around the tracks and then try to do drifts in certain turns and stuff like that. It's intense. It fucking feels smooth. It feels great in that regards because basically how this racing game works is like you have like a slew of about 30 racers including yourself, and so some of them will get destroyed because they just ram into each other or something like that, or ram into like the walls or something. Their energy falls down and they explode, right? Big massive explosions. And then like all of a sudden it's like you're racing, you have two other like ships that rubber band with you throughout the entire portion of like the race. The races don't last for too long. Maybe like on the Super Nintendo, you had like about 5 or 6 laps, like on this one little course and stuff. For the 64 version and stuff, 3 laps. Kind of like how with Mario Kart 64, we do 3 laps, and all of a sudden the last one is do this and do that. The game can be so fucking difficult because it wants you to become precise in regards to turns. Because as soon as you hit the wall, you have 2 or 3 other races that zoom past you, and you have to constantly boost, and every time that you boost, it's so different than opposed to the original F-Zero because after each lap you gather a boost and blah 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 in the original. In this game, you press the B button and your health bar goes down as well. And so you have to literally be aggressive on that front going through this. And yeah, let me just say, man, it's like there was like a night or two where I was stuck on I think it was like Big Blue Part 2, like Big Blue 2. That's the track and stuff because the most notable tracks inside of F-Zero in regards to this game, you have Mute City and then like Big Blue. And Big Blue 2, all these twists and turns, all this other stuff, that it took me a while just to go through this turnpike, right? Because there's this literal like this little swirl where you can literally like travel upside down, right, while you're trying to race and do all this other shit. And you have to hit the boost just right. But yeah, what's kind of hilarious is like a better portion of this week was spent playing an N64 game I never did before. But it's so super enjoyable. Like I'm actually getting a lot of kick out of playing this game because you see all these different racers and all of them have these weird ass quirks or something like that. They're like it's vintage sort of 90s sort of flair to it. It's like you have obviously Captain Falcon, but then you have the guy that pilots one of the fastest crafts and stuff, the Jet Vermilion, like James McLeod. Then like you have like some of the rivals for Captain Falcon, like a Samurai Goro, which he has this big old fucking like pink ship or some, and he is constantly one of the ones that rubber band you with, along with another dude. I think it's like either Black Shadow or like Blood Falcon or whatever the fuck. And yeah, it's just the music is fantastic. The fucking track design is fantastic. The racers, there's a lot of variety in terms of that stuff. Hell, every race before you go into it, you can adjust your acceleration and speed. Like it goes to the preset, right? But you can sometimes you can go all the way in one direction or another, and it completely changes the way your ship drives or grips in the track. Very in depth, very simple, but at the same time, it's hard to freaking master in certain aspects of the course. And yeah, man. I mean, a lot of what I've been playing this week, if it hadn't been little like odds and ends and stuff, just mostly playing a little bit of F Zero X. Yeah.
Nice. All right, well, guys, I think that's going to wrap it up for us this week. It's a very filled week of news.
Yep.
Hopefully, it continues on for the next month or so. But if you guys like that and you're still listening, appreciate that. Thank you. Please look in the show notes down there. You'll see a link tree. Click on that. That'll show you everywhere we are available at. Um, Facebook, Twitter, iTunes, Apple, Spotify, YouTube, Twitch, all those places. Go to all those places that you're on. Like, follow, subscribe, share, 5 stars, reviews, comments, whatever you can do. Really would appreciate it. I was Tyler.
And I've been Colonel Gables. Until next time, everyone, thank you for listening to another fun filled episode of the Drunk Nerds
And Gables.
podcast. Yep.
Too sweet.
Too sweet, man.
Bye, guys.
See ya.